Dr. Elena Torres sat alone in her small research room, staring at the blinking lights of her monitoring equipment. Outside the wide window, the twin moons of Virelia hung low in the sky, casting a silver glow across the colony. The air was thin but clean, and the faint hum of life support machines filled the room. She had always loved nights like this, quiet, still, full of the kind of calm that made the mind sharper. Tonight, though, something felt different. For weeks, Elena had noticed strange signals coming from beyond the colony's perimeter. They were faint, almost like whispers drifting through space, structured in a way that suggested intelligence. Most of her colleagues dismissed them as random cosmic noise, but Elena knew better. There was order in the chaos. There was a pattern. She leaned forward, her eyes scanning the screen. The signal pulsed again, and for a moment she thought she saw something else, a shadow moving past the edge of the window. Her heart skipped a beat. The colony was supposed to be empty at this hour. Only automated patrols roamed the perimeter, and they never moved like that. "Hello?" she whispered into the empty room. Though she knew there would be no answer, the shadow vanished before she could confirm it. Her hands trembled slightly as she typed commands into the console, trying to track the signal more precisely. Outside, the wind swept across the barren landscape, stirring small clouds of dust that glittered under the moonlight. The colony's buildings were silent, their lights dimmed for the night. Elena's room felt smaller suddenly, as if the walls were closing in. She forced herself to breathe steadily. She had faced challenges before. She was a scientist. Fear could not guide her decisions. The signal came again, stronger this time, and Elena froze. It was different now, more insistent. Her pulse quickened. She adjusted the sensors, focusing on the source. The coordinates were unusual, far beyond any known human settlement on Virelia. Whoever or whatever was sending the signal, it had to be intelligent. Then movement again. Something shifted outside the window. Elena's breath caught in her throat. It was tall, and its form was strange, almost ethereal. She could not see details in the dim light, but the figure paused, standing perfectly still as if watching her. The air seemed to thrum with tension. Elena's mind raced. What could it be? An alien? Something lost from a previous expedition? Her scientific curiosity battled with the instinctive fear rising in her chest. Slowly, cautiously, she reached for the colony's communication console, but her fingers froze. She didn't want to call anyone yet. If it was intelligent, announcing her presence might scare it away. The figure tilted its head, and for a brief moment Elena felt something in its gaze. It was as if the being understood her, acknowledged her awareness. Then, as suddenly as it appeared, it vanished, leaving the moonlit landscape empty again. Elena sat back in her chair, her mind spinning. She had read about alien life in books, studied reports, seen simulations, but nothing prepared her for this. Her heart was still racing, yet beneath the fear was excitement, raw and uncontainable. She was the first to notice. She was the first to see. She returned to the signal, adjusting the instruments again. The pulse came in waves now, almost like a heartbeat. It seemed deliberate, almost welcoming. Elena couldn't explain why, but she felt a strange connection, as if the signal was calling to her. She typed notes frantically, recording every detail, every fluctuation. Hours passed. The colony remained silent, oblivious to the event outside. The wind continued its slow dance across the barren terrain, and the moons traced their arcs in the sky. Elena leaned against the window, her eyes reflecting the pale light. She knew her life had just changed, though she could not yet understand how. Sleep became impossible. She thought of the shadow, the signal, the way it seemed to recognize her alone. Who or what could it be? And why had it chosen her? The questions spun endlessly in her mind, yet she welcomed them. For the first time in a long while, she felt the thrill of discovery, the kind that drove humans to the stars in the first place. Outside, unseen, the night stretched quietly over the colony. Something moved just beyond the perimeter, waiting, watching, patient. It was clever, and it was searching. And somewhere deep in her heart, Elena understood that she would not be able to ignore it. Her hands hovered over the console, ready to trace the signal again. Her mind was calm now, her fear replaced by curiosity, for she knew one thing with certainty. She had found the beginning of something extraordinary. Something that might change not only her life but the understanding of humans in the universe. And somewhere, beyond the window, the shadow waited, silent, observing. and already whispering promises that Elena could not yet hear. The next morning, the colony buzzed with routine activity, but Elena felt disconnected. Her thoughts were tangled with the strange shadow she had seen the night before, and the pulse of the signal she could still feel vibrating in her mind. She walked through the corridors, her steps quiet, trying to focus on her work, but every corner seemed alive with possibility. Every sound suspiciously deliberate. By mid-morning, the colony's sensors began reporting an anomaly. A small craft unlike anything the colony had catalogued hovered near the outer perimeter. It shimmered in the sunlight, its surface smooth, reflective, and almost liquid in appearance. Elena's heart raced as she stared at it. The ship did not move aggressively. It simply hovered, watching, waiting. Elena knew this was it, the visitor from the night before. Without hesitation, she grabbed a small portable scanner and headed to the observation deck. The rest of the colony watched with curiosity and caution, some whispering nervously about alien life. Elena's excitement, however, outweighed any fear. She had studied alien theory, and now she was living it. A figure emerged from the craft, gliding down the ramp with effortless grace. She was unlike anything Elena had imagined. Tall, slender, with elongated limbs and a smooth, pale complexion that shimmered faintly in the light. Her eyes were large and reflective, deep as the void of space itself. Every movement was precise, calm, yet somehow comforting. Elena froze. The alien woman stopped a few meters away and looked directly at her. Then, in a voice soft but perfectly clear in Elena's mind, she whispered, "I told you I'd find you, human." Elena's breath caught. The words felt like a weight and a key all at once. Her mind raced, searching for understanding. You can speak to me," she stammered. The alien nodded. "Yes, I have observed your species for many cycles. You are rare, human. You are different from others." Elena's curiosity flared, overpowering fear. "Different how?" she asked, stepping closer despite the colony watching. "You possess qualities that are extraordinary. Creativity, emotion, adaptability. You can face challenges no other species can manage," the alien said. Her voice was calm, melodic, carrying a depth that resonated with Elena's thoughts. "That is why I sought you." The colony's scientists were whispering to one another, unsure whether to intervene. Some wanted to alert security, others simply stared in awe. But Elena felt no threat in the alien's presence. There was intelligence here, yes, but also understanding, almost a recognition of humanity's value. Elena studied her. "Why me? Why now?" The alien's gaze seemed to pierce through the distance between them. "I have followed your kind for a long time. Many of you are brave, but some stand out. You are one who will matter. Your choices can shape more than your world." Elena's mind swirled with questions, yet the alien's calmness grounded her. "I don't understand," she admitted. "I am just one human. How can I matter in a universe so vast?" The alien smiled faintly. "The universe values unpredictability. Your species thrives where others fail. Your mind can solve what logic alone cannot. That is rare, and it must be seen, preserved, and guided." Elena's pulse quickened. This was more than science. This was recognition, acknowledgement from a being beyond her understanding. She realized how small humans were in the cosmos, yet how powerful their uniqueness could be. The alien woman extended a hand in a gesture that was gentle, but firm. "I will help you understand. I will show you what your kind can do." Elena hesitated, then, driven by curiosity and the thrill of discovery, reached out. The moment her fingers brushed the alien's, she felt a rush of energy, a connection beyond physical sensation. Images flashed in her mind, places she had never seen, civilizations she had only dreamed about, challenges she could scarcely imagine. And in all of them, humans were there, solving, surviving, creating. The colony remained cautious, but Elena could sense that fear was slowly replaced by awe in the observers. She knew this encounter would change their perception of humanity forever. Humans were fragile compared to the stars, yet their spirit, their creativity, and their determination made them formidable in ways no alien could predict. The alien stepped back slightly, giving Elena space yet maintaining the connection. "Your journey has begun," she said. "You will see that being human is not a limitation but a gift. You can make a difference in ways others cannot even imagine." Elena nodded slowly, feeling a strange mix of fear, excitement, and responsibility. She understood that she had been chosen, but not for power or glory. She had been chosen to represent the resilience and ingenuity of her species, and that realization filled her with both pride and determination. As the alien prepared to leave the observation deck, Elena's mind was already racing ahead, thinking of the possibilities, the discoveries, and the challenges that awaited. She glanced back at the colony, knowing she would need allies, and that humans' unique strengths would be their greatest asset. Outside, the craft lifted gently, shimmering against the morning sun, and Elena watched it vanish into the sky. She knew it would return, and that when it did, the real adventure, the one that could test humanity itself, would begin. And for the first time, she understood that humans were not just survivors of a harsh planet. They were a spark in the universe, small but brilliant, unpredictable yet unstoppable, and ready to face whatever lay beyond the stars. Days passed, yet Elena could not forget the alien woman. She often found herself staring out the observation window, imagining what lay beyond the horizon. The colony functioned normally, but Elena's mind had shifted to a new rhythm, one of questions, curiosity, and a growing awareness that her life had changed forever. Then the signal returned, faint but unmistakable. It pulsed with precision, a rhythm that seemed almost alive. Elena rushed to the monitoring station, her hands moving quickly over the controls. The source was not at the colony's perimeter this time. It was far beyond, deeper into the uncharted regions of Virelia. Her pulse quickened. The alien was calling again, and she understood instinctively that this was no ordinary signal. Later that afternoon, as she studied the readings, the alien appeared once more, emerging from the airlock with her quiet, fluid grace. Elena felt the same mixture of awe and fear she had felt the first time, but now it was tempered with understanding. The alien's eyes held a calm intelligence, and her presence seemed to demand patience, observation, and thought. "You seek answers," the alien said, her voice soft but clear. "You wish to understand why I came for you, why I find humans significant." Elena nodded, finding her courage. "Yes, I want to know. Why humans? Why me?" The alien's gaze softened. "Your species is rare in ways few can comprehend. You are capable of seeing possibilities others ignore, of creating solutions where logic alone fails. That is why I seek you. Not all humans are the same, but some possess the spark, the unpredictable thought, the courage to face danger, and the ability to adapt." Elena's mind raced. "You mean humans are special?" The alien inclined her head slightly. "Yes, many civilizations grow powerful but static. They rely on strict order, predictability, and repetition. Your species does not. You are small, fragile, yet your ingenuity allows you to survive and even thrive in situations that would destroy others." "That makes you remarkable." Elena thought about the colony, the experiments she had worked on, the survival drills, the way humans had always found ways to overcome challenges. Even in the most hopeless situations, humans could adapt, improvise, and find solutions others could not see. "I think I understand," she said quietly. We survive because we think differently. We don't always follow the rules." The alien smiled faintly. "Exactly. That is why I sought you. The galaxy is vast, and many look upon your kind as insignificant. But I see potential. I see what your species could accomplish if guided and observed carefully." Elena's excitement grew, but so did her sense of responsibility. "And what do you want from me?" "Why me personally?" "You have qualities rare even among humans," the alien said. "Your mind, your curiosity, your willingness to face uncertainty. You are not afraid to challenge what is known, to seek what others ignore. That is why I found you." For the first time, Elena felt the weight of importance, not in a selfish way, but as a responsibility. If humans truly were remarkable in ways the galaxy did not expect, then she represented more than herself. She represented the ingenuity, courage, and resilience of her entire species. The alien reached out a hand, not to guide, but to offer partnership. "I will show you what others cannot. You will see civilizations that never change, worlds trapped by their own logic. You will understand how unique humans are, and why that uniqueness matters. Elena hesitated only briefly. Her instinct was to explore, to learn, to witness. She reached out and the alien's hand met hers. A faint warmth passed through her, a sensation that was not just physical but mental. Images flashed across her mind. Humans facing impossible odds, creating solutions from nothing, surviving catastrophes that would have destroyed others. She saw the galaxy not as a place of power but as a place of challenges, puzzles to solve and opportunities to grow. "You will not be alone," the alien said. "I will guide you, but you must also trust your own instincts. Your species' greatest strength is not technology or weapons. It is your mind, your heart, your ability to think beyond the predictable." Elena's chest swelled with pride. She realized something profound. Humans were small in the universe, yes, but their minds, their courage, and their adaptability made them forces to be reckoned with. Even a single human could shape events, far beyond their world if they applied their ingenuity correctly. Outside, the colony continued its daily routines, unaware of the silent lesson unfolding. Elena and the alien stood side by side, looking toward the distant horizon, imagining possibilities no one else could see. For the first time, Elena understood that being human was not a limitation, it was an advantage, a gift that allowed her species to survive, adapt, and thrive where others could not. The alien's gaze met hers once more. "Soon you will face tests that will challenge everything you know. You will see danger, uncertainty, and the unexpected. But remember this, your species has a gift that no other possesses. Use it well, and you will endure." Elena nodded, feeling a surge of determination. Her heart was steady, her mind sharp. She knew that whatever awaited her, she would meet it with the unique strength of a human. Curiosity, courage, and the relentless desire to survive and discover. And somewhere beyond the stars, Elena sensed that the universe had already noticed humans, and it was watching to see what they could achieve. The days following the alien's visit were filled with a quiet tension that Elena could not shake. The colony went about its usual tasks, but she felt a presence in the air as if something unseen watched their every move. The alien, Seraphine, had warned her that humans' uniqueness made them remarkable, but also noticeable to others. Elena began to realize that they might not be alone in noticing her. It happened first with the equipment. Minor malfunctions, strange signals interrupting the communications array, and unexplained sensor readings all appeared at the same time. The engineers dismissed them as technical glitches, but Elena knew better. She had studied patterns in space for years. These anomalies were deliberate, like someone, or something, was testing the colony's defenses. By the third day, the signs became clearer. Drones, unregistered and unlike any known technology, appeared on the perimeter. They moved with efficiency and precision, scanning the landscape with relentless focus. The colony's security systems flagged them, but their designs were so advanced that conventional defenses could barely register a threat. Elena approached Seraphine, who had returned to the colony to monitor the situation. "They're hunting us," Elena said quietly, her voice steady despite the tension. "Something has found us, and they're not friendly." Seraphine nodded. "Yes. Some civilizations resent humans. Your adaptability, your ingenuity. It threatens their order. They see unpredictability as a danger. They have learned of you, and they seek to control or eliminate what they do not understand." Elena's mind raced. She had always thought of humans as small and fragile, yet Seraphine's words reminded her that their intelligence made them formidable. Still, this was not a theoretical challenge. These hunters were real, and their technology far exceeded the colony's. She would have to rely on what humans did best: creativity, improvisation, and courage. The first attack came at night. The drones struck swiftly, attempting to disable communication towers and power generators. Elena watched from the observation window, her mind calculating. The colony's defenses were faltering under the precise assault. Conventional weapons would not work, but humans had another advantage: thinking beyond patterns and creating solutions others could not imagine. She ran to the control room, rallying a few trusted engineers. "We need to think differently," she said. "We can't fight them directly. We have to trick them, confuse them, make them chase shadows." They worked through the night, rerouting power, creating decoy signals, and programming holographic images to appear as false targets. Every move was a gamble, a test of human ingenuity against machines designed to anticipate every predictable action. As the drones approached again, they were met with illusions, ghost signals, and empty corridors. The hunters' precision faltered. They had not accounted for human unpredictability. Elena watched, breath held as the drones hesitated, recalculated, and finally retreated, confused and misled by strategies no rigid system could predict. When the attack ended, Elena and the engineers collapsed in exhaustion, but Seraphine remained calm, observing. "You see," she said quietly, "your species survives because you do not follow the expected path. Others rely on repetition and predictability. Humans do not. That is your greatest weapon." Elena's chest swelled with a mixture of pride and relief. Humans were small, vulnerable, and imperfect, but their minds allowed them to overcome challenges that no alien system could predict. Every small victory in that night's defense reinforced a truth she had always felt but now understood, more deeply. Adaptability and courage were more powerful than brute strength or advanced technology. Over the next few days, Elena trained with Seraphine, learning to anticipate threats, to read patterns, and to apply creativity in combat strategies. The colony became a place of preparation rather than panic. Every engineer, every scientist, every human worker contributed ideas, improvising defenses and creating traps that relied not on force, but on intelligence. The alien hunters returned once more cautious but determined. Yet again, Elena and the humans outmaneuvered them using ingenuity instead of aggression. Each encounter taught lessons. Humans were clever, persistent, and able to find solutions under pressure. The alien watchers noted with growing admiration that humans, small and fragile as they were, could change outcomes in ways that no predictable system could. By the end of the week, the colony had not only survived but adapted, becoming stronger and smarter with each challenge. Elena stood on the observation deck, looking at the barren landscape with the moons hanging silently in the sky. She felt a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. Humans were not invincible, but they were resilient. They were unpredictable, resourceful, and capable of turning even danger into opportunity. Seraphine appeared beside her, silent for a moment. "You have learned quickly," she said. "Humans are small, yes, but you are dangerous to those who underestimate you. That is why I seek you. That is why I told you I would find you." Elena nodded. She understood now that her species' greatest strength lay not in weapons or numbers, but in the mind, the spark of creativity, the courage to act, and the willingness to survive against impossible odds. Humans could face any challenge, adapt to any environment, and outthink adversaries far stronger than themselves. And as the stars shimmered above, Elena knew that this was only the beginning. The galaxy would test humans, but she had already seen what made them remarkable. Small, fragile, and unpredictable, humans were ready to face whatever awaited them, and perhaps even change the universe in ways others could not imagine. Elena stood at the edge of the colony's landing pad, the alien craft hovering silently before her. Seraphine's presence radiated calm assurance, and yet Elena felt a thrill of nervous excitement. Leaving the colony was a choice that carried risk, but it also offered a chance to understand the galaxy and the unique role humans could play within it. As she stepped into the craft, she marveled at its interior. The walls seemed to shift, reflecting light in soft patterns that were both beautiful and disorienting. There were no visible controls. Seraphine moved her hand and the ship responded as if it anticipated her intentions. Elena realized immediately that this was technology far beyond human understanding, yet she did not feel fear. Curiosity burned stronger than caution. "Where are we going?" Elena asked, her voice a mixture of awe and anticipation. "Beyond what you know," Seraphine replied. "I will show you worlds you have only imagined, civilizations that thrive but stagnate, and challenges your species has never faced. You will see why humans are rare and why you matter." The craft lifted silently into the sky, Virelia receded beneath them, small and fragile, and Elena felt a strange sense of freedom. The stars stretched endlessly in all directions, and the craft accelerated with a speed that made the familiar laws of physics seem almost irrelevant. She could feel the pull of the galaxy in her chest, a mixture of excitement and awe. They passed through star systems untouched by humans, worlds of crystal cities, oceans of liquid gas, and forests that glowed with life far beyond Earth's imagination. Yet Elena noticed something in all of them. The civilizations were perfect, ordered, and predictable. Machines and beings alike moved in exact patterns, following rules that left no room for error or innovation. They were powerful, yes, but stagnant, trapped in a rhythm that never allowed for surprise or creativity. Elena turned to Seraphine. "They are advanced, but they seem limited," Seraphine nodded. "Exactly. They rely on logic, predictability, and repetition. They cannot adapt the way humans can. That is why your species stands out. Even a single human can face chaos and turn it into opportunity." As the craft traveled farther, Seraphine shared stories of humans across the galaxy. She spoke of explorers who had survived hostile planets with nothing but wits and courage, of scientists who solved problems no alien mind could comprehend, and of ordinary humans who became heroes by thinking differently. Elena listened, realizing that her species was not only unique but admired, even quietly feared, by those who could not understand human adaptability. The journey was not without danger. They passed near a rogue star cluster where gravitational forces bent light and threatened to pull anything into its orbit. The craft shifted effortlessly, but Elena felt the pull in her chest as if the universe itself were testing her. Seraphine glanced at her calmly. "Do you see? Even here humans' creativity is a strength. You are capable of seeing solutions others cannot." Elena's mind raced. She imagined ways to navigate such forces, to survive against conditions no other species could endure. She realized that humans thrived on unpredictability. They could improvise, adapt, and turn even threats into opportunities. Where other civilizations relied on systems, humans relied on mind, heart, and ingenuity. Hours turned into days as they traveled, and Elena began to understand the vastness of the galaxy. They visited planets where life had evolved in unimaginable ways, some peaceful, some dangerous. Each encounter reinforced the truth Seraphine had shown her. Humans were small, yet their minds and instincts gave them an influence far beyond what their size suggested. Elena also noticed the difference in humans compared to these advanced but static civilizations. Aliens moved and thought in strict patterns, valuing order over adaptability. Humans, by contrast, embraced uncertainty, used emotion as insight, and applied logic in unpredictable ways. That unpredictability made them powerful in ways no alien could anticipate. As they traveled, Elena began planning for the challenges ahead. She thought of the hunters who had attacked her colony, of the difficulties of survival, and of the opportunities that awaited. She realized that humans could turn even disadvantage into advantage, that their greatest weapons were not machines or firepower but ingenuity, courage, and collaboration. At last, the craft slowed, approaching a distant, luminous planet unlike any Elena had seen. Seraphine turned to her. "Here you will face new tests. You will see danger and uncertainty, but you will also see the strength of your species. Remember, humans are small, fragile, and unpredictable. That is your advantage," Elena nodded. Her heart pounded with anticipation. She was leaving everything familiar behind, the colony, her routines, her friends, but she felt ready. Humans were not ordinary. They could survive what others could not, think what others would not, and achieve what others deemed impossible. The craft descended, and Elena felt a thrill she could not contain. The galaxy was vast, and the challenges ahead were beyond imagining, but she knew one thing with certainty. Humans, though small, were capable of greatness, and as she stepped onto the new world, her mind focused, her heart steady, Elena realized that this journey was not only about survival, it was about proving what her species could do, about showing the universe that humanity was unpredictable, resilient, and unstoppable, even among the stars. Elena's heart pounded as the alien craft approached the dark edge of the system. Seraphine had warned her that the hunters were closing in. The distant glint of hostile ships reflected off the hull, sharp and cold against the endless stars. This time there would be no easy escape. Elena knew they would have to fight with more than technology. They would have to fight with mind and instinct. The alien hunters emerged from the void, their formations precise, their weapons poised. Seraphine remained calm, her presence a steady anchor, but Elena could feel the tension. This was no ordinary confrontation. The hunters were formidable, but they had not accounted for humans. Elena scanned the environment quickly. The fleet moved in predictable patterns, relying on logic and repetition. That predictability was a flaw, one that humans could exploit. She gestured to Seraphine, and together they began to maneuver the craft into positions the hunters would not anticipate. "They will anticipate direct attacks," Elena said, her voice steady. "We need to be unpredictable, use their expectations against them." Seraphine nodded. "You understand the principle well. Humans are rare because of this very skill." Elena smiled faintly. The idea was simple: misdirection, improvisation, and rapid adaptation. She and Seraphine worked in sync, combining alien technology with human intuition. They sent false signals, projecting phantom ships and decoy signals across the grid. The hunters responded instinctively, targeting the illusions while leaving openings elsewhere. One hunter ship broke formation, charging toward what it thought was their target. Elena seized the moment, maneuvering the craft to flank the intruder. With precise timing, she triggered a series of holographic pulses, confusing the enemy's sensors and causing it to crash into a nearby ast. "Heroid." Seraphine's eyes gleamed with admiration. "Impressive," she said. "You anticipate, adapt, and act. This is why humans survive where others fail." Elena's mind raced. Each move had to be faster than the last. The hunters adjusted their tactics, anticipating unpredictability, but Elena was ready. She thought not in lines and patterns, but in possibilities. She turned the craft sharply, diving into a debris field that the hunters considered too hazardous. Their sensors flagged danger, but humans could take calculated risks. Elena knew that danger was an opportunity if one's mind stayed sharp. The hunters hesitated, their formations breaking under the unpredictability of human decisions. Elena pressed forward, combining rapid maneuvers with decoys, her mind constantly analyzing, adjusting, creating solutions on the fly. Seraphine watched silently, impressed by the clarity and speed of Elena's thinking. No alien could anticipate this level of improvisation. Humans were a problem that could not be solved with logic alone. Hours passed, though time felt different in the midst of the confrontation. Elena's strategy continued to unfold flawlessly. The hunters had strength, numbers, and advanced technology, yet the humans' ingenuity turned the tide. One by one, the alien ships fell into traps, misjudged openings, and crashed or retreated. At the height of the battle, Elena took a deep breath and initiated a final maneuver. She guided the craft through a narrow corridor between two massive asteroids, a path so impossible that the hunters could not follow without crashing. As the enemy ships collided or fled, Elena realized the truth Seraphine had been trying to show her all along. Humans were not defined by physical power, but by adaptability, creativity, and courage. The battlefield cleared. The hunters had been neutralized not through brute force, but through thought, calculation, and the human ability to act unpredictably. Seraphine turned to Elena, her expression one of respect and awe. "You have proven what I already knew," she said softly. "Humans are small yet dangerous in ways the universe cannot always understand. Your species survives not because of strength, but because of mind, heart, and spirit." Elena felt a surge of pride. She had faced overwhelming odds and emerged victorious, not through sheer firepower, but through intellect and instinct. Her mind was still racing, planning for what might come next. But she knew that humans had the greatest advantage in the galaxy: the ability to think beyond rules, beyond predictability, and beyond fear. The stars stretched endlessly before them, and Elena understood that this confrontation was only one of many challenges the galaxy would present. Yet she also knew something deeper. Humans, small and fragile as they were, could endure, adapt, and overcome even the most formidable threats. As the craft floated in the calm after the storm, Seraphine placed a hand on Elena's shoulder. "You have done more than survive," she said. "You have shown that humans are capable of greatness. That is why I came to find you. That is why I will continue to guide you. Your species is not ordinary. It is extraordinary." Elena looked out at the stars, feeling a mix of exhaustion, relief, and excitement. She had faced the impossible and discovered the truth. Humans could survive, create, and even triumph where others would fail. She had proven that intelligence, courage, and adaptability were stronger than any weapon. And somewhere deep in the galaxy, she sensed that the universe had taken notice. Humans, unpredictable and resilient, were no longer invisible. They were a force to be reckoned with, a small, brilliant spark in the vast darkness of space, capable of shaping events in ways no other species could. Elena's heart swelled with determination. She knew the journey was far from over. Challenges would come again, but humans had a power that could never be measured by size, numbers, or technology alone. They had mind, spirit, and courage. And with that realization, Elena understood the promise that had been whispered to her months ago, that being human was not a weakness, but a gift, one that could change the course of the universe. Elena floated in the quiet of the alien craft, the stars stretching endlessly in every direction. The battle with the hunters had ended, but she knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges and wonders, and humans, small, fragile, and unpredictable, were ready to leave their mark. Seraphine sat beside her, calm and composed. "You have seen what humans can do when pushed to the edge," she said. "But now you will see what your species can accomplish when given opportunity." Elena turned to her, curiosity blazing. "Opportunity? What do you mean?" Seraphine smiled faintly. "There are civilizations that never change, worlds trapped by their own perfection. They have power, but they cannot grow. Humans can. You can adapt, create, and inspire. You can influence outcomes others cannot even imagine." Elena considered this. The galaxy she had glimpsed on her journey was filled with marvels, but also stagnation. Some species had technology beyond imagination, yet they could not escape the limits of their thinking. Humans, by contrast, thrived in chaos, uncertainty, and unpredictability. That unpredictability was their strength. As they traveled, Elena saw planets where life was fragile, struggling against natural forces. She watched civilizations collapse under their own rigidity, and she realized that humans' adaptability was not only remarkable, it was necessary. Survival depended not on power alone, but on creativity, courage, and resourcefulness. Seraphine guided the craft to a luminous world at the edge of a nebula, a planet full of storms, floating islands, and strange shifting terrain. "Here," Seraphine said, "you will face tests that will challenge everything you know. But remember, your species has survived impossible odds before. Your mind is your greatest weapon." Elena stepped onto the planet, feeling the raw energy of the world beneath her feet. The storms roared, yet she did not falter. Her heart was steady, her mind clear. Humans thrived not in comfort, but in challenge. And here, surrounded by dangers no other species could endure, she felt that truth more strongly than ever. She observed the environment carefully, noting patterns, hazards, and opportunities. Where others might panic, she adapted. She improvised ways to navigate unstable terrain, using natural features as tools, creating paths where none existed. Every step reminded her of humanity's greatest gift, the ability to face uncertainty and turn it into advantage. Seraphine watched silently, impressed. "Humans are rare," she said softly. "You endure where others fail, not because of brute strength, but because of intelligence, courage, and creativity. That is why I found you." Elena smiled faintly, feeling pride and responsibility in equal measure. She thought of the colony, of the people she had left behind, and of the hunters who had underestimated her species. Humans had survived not because they were the strongest, but because they were unpredictable, adaptable, and resilient. That uniqueness gave them influence far beyond what others imagined. As the days passed, Elena explored the planet, discovering challenges that tested her ingenuity. Each obstacle, unstable cliffs, sudden storms, unpredictable wildlife, was met with creative solutions. She constructed tools, improvised shelters, and navigated hazards with quick thinking and courage. Seraphine provided guidance but never intervention. She wanted Elena to learn, to grow, and to understand that humans' greatest power lay within themselves. Through these experiences, Elena realized the truth Seraphine had tried to convey all along. Humans were small, fragile, and seemingly ordinary, yet they could endure, adapt, and even excel where others could not. That uniqueness was not a weakness, it was a gift. One evening, as the twin moons of the planet rose, casting silver light across the shifting landscape, Elena stood silently, gazing at the stars. She felt a deep connection to her species, to the vastness of the galaxy and to the challenges ahead. Humans had survived harsh worlds, dangerous predators, and impossible odds before, and they would continue to do so. Seraphine joined her, her voice calm. You have seen what your species can achieve. You have survived tests that would defeat others, and now you will carry that knowledge, that spark, to the universe. Humans are not ordinary, they are extraordinary. Elena nodded. She understood now that her journey was not only personal. She represented humanity, a species capable of ingenuity, courage, and adaptation in a universe that often underestimated them. Humans had the power to change worlds, to solve problems others could not, and to endure where others would fail. As the stars shimmered above, the alien craft prepared to leave the planet. Elena took one last look at the world, knowing that every challenge she faced here had strengthened her and humanity. The galaxy was wide, dangerous, and full of possibilities, but humans were ready. Their unpredictability, creativity, and resilience made them a force that no one could ignore. And with that, Elena stepped into the craft, her heart steady, her mind sharp, and her spirit unwavering. Humans were small, yes, but in their smallness lay power. They could survive, adapt, and inspire. They could change the course of civilizations. As the craft lifted into the stars, Elena gazed out into the infinite expanse of the galaxy. She smiled, knowing the truth had never been clearer. Humanity was not just alive, they were exceptional. They were unpredictable, ingenious, and unstoppable. And the universe, wide as it was, would soon learn the true strength of a species that refused to be ordinary.